Y'all ready? Okay. Good evening. I'd like to call the Tuesday, December 15th, 2020 meeting of the Moorhead Public Service Commission to order. We'll do a roll call to establish a quorum. Daly,
Here.
McDougal,
Here.
Durand,
Here.
Paulson, and I'm Thompson, and I'm in Chambers.
Joel just got on.
Paulson,
Here.
okay, thank you. I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved, Daily.
Okay, I have a motion by Daly,
Second.
seconded by McDougal. Move to approve the agenda. Roll call votes necessary. Thompson, aye. Daly,
Aye.
McDougal,
Aye.
Durand,
Aye.
Paulson.
Aye.
The agenda's been approved. Move to approve the consent agenda.
So moved, Durand.
Second, Paulson.
Okay, I have a motion by Durand, seconded by Paulson to approve the consent agenda. Thompson, aye. Daly.
Aye.
McDougal,
Aye.
Durand,
Aye.
Paulson.
Aye.
Okay, I've been informed that there's no customers to be heard. Mr. Schmidt, are there any recognitions?
None at this time.
Okay, moving on, any old business?
Nothing that I'm aware of.
Okay, seeing none, moving on to report, City Council, Mr. Hendrickson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had our council meeting last night, the last one of the year, and some items that we did go over and pass. We passed the budget last night with, and I want to thank our city staff for wasn't much of a tax increase this year, where it was looking pretty sketchy earlier in the year, but you know, it's a relatively low tax increase, but we did pass that budget. One thing I want to talk about too is Minnesota did pass a $242 million aid package for businesses around the state. And $88 million is coming from the Department of Revenue for direct payments to restaurants, bars, caterers, on-sale breweries and distilleries, bowling alleys and gyms. $114 million goes to counties to disperse the money to small businesses and nonprofits in ways that best meet the local economies. And from what I read, Clay County is expected to receive about $1.275 million. So patronize your businesses, your small businesses. They are hurting right now, and we need to help them out all we can. We did approve the hiring of Dan Molly as the new city manager last night. So congratulations, Dan. And kind of a sad, bittersweet, but it was the last council meeting for Councilwoman Heidi Durand and Sarah Watson-Curry. Again, I said this last night, but I'd want to thank you for your service and leadership for the city of Moorhead.
My pleasure.
That's all I have. That's all I have.
Thank you. Public Service Commission, any updates?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Kind of piggybacking off of Chuck's report, at the council meeting last night, City Manager Dan Molly and John Shockley mentioned some communications the city has been having with MPS on plans to assist small businesses, bars, restaurants in Moorhead. Kind of similar, or it sounded like it might have been to develop some kind of plan similar to what Fargo just announced they're doing. Travis, do you have any information on that, or you want to share?
Sure.
If it's in the agenda somewhere and I didn't see it, or what we're maybe looking at?
Sure. No, unfortunately, we weren't able to put this into the packet this evening. I did have a conversation with now City Manager Molly last week, trying to spitball a little bit on how it would look and what we could potentially do. I know they're looking at it from the city side of things and the services that they provide to those businesses as well, and asked if MPS would be interested in that as well. From the standpoint on the electric side, due to our purchase power contracts, it's very sticky because we can't give away power. But we did say we could take a look at the water side of the utilities as well. So I have talked with Mark Moylan about it, and we're looking into it to see if it's something feasible to do. From my understanding, it was again the businesses that Chuck had talked about, and from what Dan told me, it was probably less than 50 businesses that potentially could be involved in that. So we're going to take a look at it and see if we can do something similar to what Fargo's doing.
And I didn't read the article because I still don't pay for an online subscription to the forum. Are they giving free electricity too, or I thought that was Xcel.
Yeah. So Fargo is either Xcel or Cass County Electric for their electric service providers. I think and I unfortunately haven't read the article yet myself. I think it is just city utilities that they would pay. So anything on their utility bill, again, if that's wastewater, water, sanitation, those things would be something they'd be looking at. Streetlight
Utility, that would be included too, I would imagine?
Yes. Yep.
More?
Yep.
I mean, on our side? Okay.
Yep.
All right, good. That's good news because, like Chuck said, we have a lot of small businesses that are really struggling, and would be nice to see us be able to offer some help, some relief.
Yeah, I think it was 6 months, if I remember right.
Yep. 6 months. Okay, thanks, Travis.
You're welcome.
Any other reports from the Public Service Commission? Okay, moving on to the General Manager's report, Mr. Schmidt.
Sure. Several items on this evening's General Manager's report. First, we're going to talk about the Missouri River Load Management Verification Payment Program. I'm going to have Matt Marks come up and speak to that, just a brief update on that and how it impacts MPS.
Matt Marks, project engineer. Moorhead Public Service does have a load management program where we control residential air conditioners and water heaters during our peak times to keep our total demand on the system lower. As a result of that, Missouri River Energy offers an incentive to keep that program and to maintain that program. So every year our electricians will verify and test those devices that are out on the system, and then Missouri River will ask for a sample of those tests of the reports to verify that our system is still up and running, and then they offer an incentive of $1.75 for each of the water heaters we control, and $5 for each of the air conditioners we control. So that report has been sent to Missouri River, and they have sent us that incentive payment of $12,661.50. Any questions on that? That's what we have.
It's a good program. We've had this program, our load management program, for 30 plus years. It's valuable to not only the customers as it helps keep their rates down, but it helps keep the overall purchase power costs down as well if we have the abilities to control them. As we move further on into AMI as well, it'll be something we look at as well if we continue it or not. It's one of the key pieces that we want to continue to look at.
Councilmember White, you have a question, comment?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just was wondering, so it sounds great. It's nice to see that some of those funds coming back to us. I'm assuming then that it increases our energy efficiency, and so I was wondering, is this something that folks have to opt into, and are we doing outreach to try to increase the number of residents that are participating in the program?
Correct. Yeah, so on an annual basis, we haven't done it lately, We do have the Thrifty Watts program, which is for air conditioners and water heaters, but we also have a dual fuel program, and those are all opt-in. I think Thrifty Watts, usually we send out on an annual basis to add people to it. Dual fuel is a little different, and you have to have an alternate heating source. So you got to have a propane backup or something else. So those are a little bit different, and we don't see as many of those nowadays. A lot of new homes being built, of course, are just usually putting natural gas in for their heating source and not using electricity. So, you know, we're seeing more in the controlling on the water heaters and air conditioners, and that's probably the benefit we see.
And the other part of that was just asking, what are we doing for outreach just to encourage people to opt into it?
Yep, so usually we send out a mailer asking for them to either get on a wait list or to apply for the program, for the Thrifty Watts program. Like I said, we haven't done it in the last couple of years, just because we're trying to see if we're going to continue with it, because AMI kind of does that on its own with the rates that we have. So that's where we want to look at it a little bit further to see if it's even cost effective to continue that program.
Any other questions or comments?
I guess I have one other thing related to that, is when we, besides opting in, have we done anything to provide an incentive for them to do it? So we're getting money back. Does the homeowner see some of that money? Like, do they get a rebate for participating in the program?
Yes, they do see a rebate. In the summertime, they just see it for their air condition. Well, they see it for their water heaters year-round if we're controlling them. But in the summertime only, it's June, July, and August. That's when they could see a incentive or a rebate for the air conditioners. I don't know the dollars off the top of my head, so I'd say what they were.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt. Next, we've got an update on a couple of major capital division, capital items or capital projects for the water division. I'll have Mark Pritchard kind of give a brief update on those. We've hit some key milestones on those, so I want to have him bring you guys up to speed on those.
Thank you, Travis. Mark Pritchard, Water Plant Supervisor. As Travis had mentioned, we've had some very important milestones that we have been able to see on some various capital projects that the Water Division has been working on for quite some time now. Starting with the Southside Water Tower project, the major milestones that we've been able to see very recently is the steel structure of the bowl has been raised to the top of the concrete pedestal out at the tower site. That's been a long time in the making. It was very interesting to see that process as it went through on December the 4th. Right now, we are currently working on getting the roof welding and base plate attachments in place. And after that, the majority of the work is actually going to be interior, making sure that the standpipe connects from the existing water main extension up to the bowl itself. So we've been able to see a very large amount of progress this summer and into the fall. And we should be on schedule for substantial completion prior to the I-94 water tower's scheduled decommissioning for its own rehab project. So we're sitting in good shape schedule-wise, and everything's looking good so far. For the lime sludge dewatering facility, there's been considerable amounts of construction progress on that project as well. We've poured many batches of concrete to get us to where we are now, and I'm happy to report that that project is also on schedule for its substantial completion date. As far as the major milestones that project has had, we've had grade beams that have been installed, precast concrete walls have been fully installed and painted. Equipment is actually being in place as we speak now. We've been able to see electrical supply to the building, and the pumping equipment is actually being placed in the mechanical room now. The upcoming milestones for that project include integration for SCADA control, as well as installation of the actual plate and frame filter press. It's going to be on site end of January, so that'll be a very exciting time, and we're hoping to have that one on schedule throughout the rest of the project going into next year as well.
Mark has included a couple of pictures in the packet as well of the water tower and some progress updates on the lime sludge dewatering facility for you to look at. Perfect. Any questions? Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Another quick update. We did receive our official notice from Missouri River on the rates for 2021. Again, the supplemental power demand and energy rates will stay unchanged as we had been talking about all year, or in the last couple months. Again, the green energy rate will be adjusted. That's the 100% carbon-free rate that we are going to be included in starting in January 1st of 2021. They also added a tier to the economic development incentive rate, and we have been talking with City Manager Molly and others as well. We're going to be bringing a policy change to the commission after the first of the year to reflect some changes we want to make to the policy for economic development, utilizing the Missouri River program over the current program that we have in place. I think it's a better program and allows for additional customers or potential customers to be included in. So we'll bring that back hopefully in January as a policy change to the commission. The other final one was the transmission rates. Those are a rate through Southwest Power Pool. Those went up 3%. Again, a little bit of an increase, but we were able to not have to raise rates with that increase that we saw. So that's just a quick change that was coming through from Missouri River and Southwest Power Pool. Next, I'm going to have Mark come up. He's done a fantastic job of keeping you guys up to date on the past due and collections that we've got going on due to COVID-19. So I'll have Mark come up and speak to that.
Thanks, Travis. Mark Moylan, Controller, Moorhead Public Service. Just continuing to update this. This is the 8th full month of the Minnesota peacetime emergency, and that we've had this in place. And from a collection standpoint, it again, this new month, same story. It's about consistent. About 16% of our accounts are past due each month. Out of about 20,000, that equates to about 125 more than last month. The dollar value has been staying relatively stable for the last month or so because it's only went up about $40,000 last month. On the other side, though, we do still have about 1,500 accounts that have balances 3 or more months past due. And so, we strongly encourage those customers to, try and keep up with their payments or make partial payments to at least make a partial pay down of that balance. From the assistance standpoint, West Central Minnesota Community Action is underway. Their heating assistance program year has started in November. We did note that we haven't had as many approved customers this year as we have in the past. And after a couple of emails back and forth with the Department of Commerce person, they say that they're noticing that throughout the state. So I'm not sure 100% what's causing that. Some of the thought might be because there aren't actual disconnections occurring throughout the state, that people aren't sensing the urgency to get their applications in. So we do expect that once that peacetime emergency, once it's lifted, there will be a flurry of activity throughout the state because there will be a 60-day waiting period before disconnection can finally occur or ultimately occur. And in between that time, there's going to be probably a lot of utilities communicating with their customers to try and set up payment plans or work out something to get those bills addressed. Some other interesting news that we found for the COVID housing assistance program. In early December, we saw in the news that they had pushed up the deadline for applications, so it closed on December 7th. All the communications that we had previously received showed that they were going to be paying bills through December 30th, and it didn't actually have a deadline on them that people had to get their applications in. So thoughts were that this program would at least remain in place through February or through January, maybe mid-February, to allow bills that were occurred through December 30th to be covered. Instead, the program was closed for new applications on December 7th. So if an individual didn't get their application in before December 7th, they might not be eligible to get housing under this particular program. As Travis stated, though, there is talk that there will be another program coming Unfortunately, we don't know any details on that. Will they include bills going back as far as March of last year when all of this started, and the start date for some of the bad or debts accumulating? So that was kind of a shock that we got that. Unfortunately, we didn't get a lot of notification that that deadline would be expiring, so we didn't get a chance to communicate with our customers. Our plan was to do something in mid-December again to get another line of calls out so people would apply. That's really all I have on that is we're still, monitoring. We're still sending out the reminder calls, directing customers to West Central Community Actions to get their electric portions covered at least. And again, it's 85 are being paid on a monthly basis, so it's 15% that we are really focusing on from the customer service standpoint.
Yeah.
At this time, does anybody have any questions or comments?
Yeah, I did reach out to City Manager Molly and Mayor Judd as well to communicate that concern we had about the CARES Act community, or CHAPS is what they call it, assistance shutting down early, noting that there was potentially something coming up. Again, that we don't know all the details, but we did ask that they include everything back to the beginning of March when COVID was causing all the problems, so that those customers, even though they haven't acted yet, they still have a potential to act in the future. Again, we haven't heard what the plan is on that, but we've requested that they provide that to the policymakers down in Minneapolis so that they can, or St. Paul, so that they can try to get some additional assistance to those customers as well. That was a major thing that we were talking about last week with City Manager Molly.
Any questions or comments? Okay.
Thank you.
Madam President,
Yeah.
I just want to quickly thank Mark for keeping us updated on those numbers. It's very important to keep track and to continue our efforts in getting that 15% lined up with some type of support. So I appreciate that greatly, Mark and Travis.
Thank you. Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
That is all I have,
Okay.
Chair.
Moving on to item 8E, report on the 2020 electric underground cable replacement project.
Sure. So just want to do a look back on 2020 and what we've completed for underground cable replacements projects. I'm going to have Taylor Holt, our distribution engineer, come up and speak to that and how that went this year and kind of what we do for that. Taylor, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair, General Manager. Again, Taylor Holt, electric distribution engineer. Back in the 1970s, Moorhead Public Service adjusted from installing overhead on new construction to installing underground cable. As with every product, the initial manufacturing of said product, it doesn't fare as well as what we see nowadays. A lot of those cables began faulting within about 20 years, and some of them lasted up until about this year. We did end up doing a cable replacement project on some mid-1970s cable. Through the last 30 years, due to these faults, we've began trying to implement a section of our budget to replacing these old cables. And we've shown drastic results over those 30 years at reducing these cable faults. These underground cable faults end up causing a lot longer outages than any of the overhead ones. And they're a lot more difficult and invasive to fix because it usually involves digging up somebody's front yard and then waiting for grass to get growing once again. Beyond that, we're just providing a report showing the results that continue to be working, and the program that we've had instilled over these 30 years has actually been able to keep up budgetary-wise, and we've been able to drop it down to about $220,000 compared to the peak of about $300,000 a year. I've also included some factors that we try to prioritize in selecting these projects. We try to be fiduciarily responsible and not just replacing wire to replace wire. But there's certain types of faults that aren't caused by just bad cable. And like the project I referred to earlier, there's a certain type of fault that shows signs of continuing to fault over and over. And when it gets to wintertime and the ground's frozen, it makes things very difficult and causes very frustrated customers. Are there any questions that some of the commissioners may have?
When we talk about water pipes, we talk about, miles and how many, what are we talking about, miles and miles of cable here, or transmission line?
No, it's generally in the thousands of feet. So I guess it probably ends up being single digit, maybe low double digit miles that we're replacing.
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
And
Yeah,
then,
we have enough wire in the ground to go from here to Sauk Center.
Right.
So to give you a little bit of perspective, that's how far we can go with the underground cable.
Yeah.
Whether it's feeder cable or distribution cable, that's how far it goes. And, we've done a really good job, as the water division continues to work on theirs, of keeping up, minimizing outages. Again, we have good reliability, so we look at how many outages happen, what type of cable it is, the age of the cable, how many customers are impacted by an outage. And those all take, take priority when you look at what projects you do and what projects you don't do.
Thanks for that perspective. I have no clue. Any other questions or comments? Okay. We need to accept this report. Can I get a motion, please?
Paulson, I move to approve.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Paulson, seconded by McDougal, to accept the report on the 2020 electric underground cable replacement projects. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, moving on to item number 8F, report on the 2021 water main replacement project.
So I'll have I'll have Jake Long come up. He's our water distribution supervisor. He's going to be talking about projects that we're going to be doing in 2021 that are in collaboration with the city of Moorhead's street restoration projects. Go ahead, Jake.
Jake Long, Water Distribution Supervisor. Before diving into the proposed 2021 water main replacement projects, I wanted to give a brief update on our 2020 water main replacement projects. It was a busy summer. We had 5 total projects, 2 that were competitively bid and contracted out, and 3 that were completed by our own MPS water distribution crew. Our first contracted project had 2 components, kind of 2 separate projects. The first was a 12-inch water main along 8th Street from 12th Avenue to 20th Avenue, 12-inch water main. It was a great project to complete, one of our main lines feeding kind of South Moorhead from 8th Street. Historically, MPS had experienced multiple water main breaks per year on this section of water main, which caused many traffic delays, major water loss, and other disruptions through whether it's Concordia or other customers' apartments along that stretch. The second component to this project was to install a 12-inch water main underneath Southeast Main and OTVR railroad tracks. This developed a looping system to the industrial park in South Moorhead, and improved our reliability and fire flow protection to the industrial park. So another good project. The second contracted project this year was replacing approximately 2,500 feet on 20th Avenue South in between 14th Street and 20th Street. This was a coordinated effort between MPS and the city's project. The city was doing a mill and overlay and some reconstruction there, so it was a great time to jump in and get that 12-inch water main replaced. The other remaining 3 projects were completed by MPS's distribution crew. These were all these projects were also coordinated with the city's street improvement projects. This is always so important to coordinate these projects so that our water main is upgraded on a new and less prone to a failure on a new improved street. Our crews were busy, but did a great job completing these projects in a timely manner and very efficiently. It's an important factor to do that when scheduling and coordinating these projects with multiple contractors on a job site. And MPS crews replaced approximately 4,000 feet of cast iron. Moving on to our proposed 2021 water main replacement projects. We have 4 projects proposed, 1 to be competitively bid and contracted out, and the remaining 3 to be completed by our distribution crew. First one is on 15th Street, 8th Avenue to 10th Avenue North, about 800 feet. That's our contracted project. The remaining 3 are going to be kind of in one project area, just one street after another. The city's proposing to do some mill and overlay, reconstruct street improvements on 15th Street, 16th Street, and 17th Street. We have a few sections of blocks in between that project area that need to be replaced. Like I said, all these projects will be coordinated with the city's capital improvement plan. And this is another important as it generates up to 20 to 30% savings for the total MPS project cost of replacing water main. Total footage for next year will be about 5,500 feet. It is also interesting, our historical data and GIS data, we had about 68 recorded water main breaks just in those 5,500 feet. So it's a needed project for this water main. Our proposed budget includes $916,000 to complete the design and construction of these projects. Yeah, all in all, these are some good projects for next summer to be replaced and upgraded. Any questions?
Questions for Jake? I really appreciate the fact that we're doing so well at coordinating with city projects. I think that it shows a lot of foresight and all parties involved, and we can recoup some savings, which is so necessary on the water side.
Yep.
So, thank you.
Yep, very important.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I have a quick question. How much was the entire 5,500 feet, is that all cast iron or is it?
Yeah, that's all cast iron.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Jake, how many miles do we have left of cast iron in the ground?
Approximately 28, I think, the last time I checked.
Okay. So we got a while of projects
Yeah,
here.
we got a ways to go.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
You read my mind, Mr. Manager, so thanks.
Okay, we need to accept this report, so I'm ready for a motion.
Durand will move approval.
Daley second.
I have a motion by Durand, seconded by Daley, to accept the report on the 2021 water main replacement project. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay, thank you. Item number 9, agreement with West Central Minnesota Community Action.
This is for our affordable housing weatherization program. I'm going to have Dennis Eisenbraun, our energy services manager, come up and speak about this one. It's an annual item that we bring forth to the commission to approve providing some assistance with weatherization. Dennis, go ahead.
Dennis Eisenbraun, Energy Services Manager. The Conservation Improvement Program, CIP, we call that SIP. That program is a part of the requirements from the state of Minnesota. And what SIP wants us to do in this particular regard is take 0.2% of our residential gross revenue and return it back to our customers in the form of energy savings of some sort. This program is called initially Weatherization Program, and this was more historical, and it was meant that the utility could use those funds to help the customers, weatherize their houses with insulation, window coverings, that sort of thing. And actually, we can do anything we want. And what we've chosen to do is to purchase energy efficient appliances for identified customers. So it helps them have more energy efficient appliances and also reduces their monthly expenses. So that it helps them, but it also helps us to record energy savings for our SIP requirements. So the customer gets something that helps them, but it also is easy for us to manage how many kilowatt hours are saved. So it works well that way. The thing that we can't really do very well is to go out and identify who should be getting these appliances. And this is where West Central comes in. They go out there and they work with their clients for other programs that they have. And while they are there in these homes, they can identify if a client could qualify for having their appliance replaced. And then they come back to us, and then we order those appliances that have been pre-approved and pre-priced through a bidding process we go through every year. And then that's what we use West Central for, and they've done a great job for us. It's been a great partnership. It's worked very well, no problems. So.
Thank you, Dennis. Any questions?
Yeah, this is Heidi. I just have a quick one. In the packet, under the recommendation, it says the interim general manager, so we might want to get rid of interim.
We can fix that. We can fix that.
Give yourself more credit.
Good catch.
Good catch.
Good catch. Thank you, Heidi.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Councilmember White.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also noticed that too. I was thinking the same thing. But I wanted to say this is such a great program, and I remember when we talked about it last year. And I think we talked about this a little bit, but just wanted to expand on how we could get the word out about it more. And one place I was thinking about is Joshua Huffman, who's one of our city staff, works at doing education towards home ownership. And I wondered if this could be, if we've looked at perhaps seeing if they could include some of the information in there. So if you have, for instance, families that are working on becoming homeowners, particularly low-income families, this might be something if they know, well, they're purchasing this home and it has older appliances, but if they were able to use this, it will just help them a little bit and could be something that would make homeownership more feasible for them as well. So that might be a place where even if Josh is just including that in the training that he provides, that might be useful if we make sure that we get that information in.
Thank you. We'll take a look at that.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions, comments? About how many how households are impacted through this program?
Probably mid-20s, 30-ish, something
30-ish.
like that, yeah.
I thought that's the
Right.
number I remember from last year,
Yeah.
but thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we need to approve this agreement through roll call vote, so I'm willing to take a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Is that Sebastian or
Yeah.
Paul? Okay. So I have a motion by Sebastian, seconded by,
Paulson will second.
okay.
Okay. Joel can have it.
Thanks, Mary.
All right, I have a motion by McDougal, seconded by Paulson, to approve the agreement with West Central Minnesota Community Action. Roll call vote, Thompson, aye. Daley,
Yes. Aye.
McDougal,
Aye.
Durand,
Aye.
Paulson.
Aye.
Okay, the agreement's been approved. Item number 13, approve final 2021 strategic plan budgets and rates.
Sure.
Mr. Schmidt.
Sure, I'll start this, and I'll have Mark Moylan come up to answer any questions. Again, budget process went really well this year. We've provided an update to the commission, or to the city council as well. We did that on the 23rd of, I think the 23rd of November. Again, overall, we're looking at a 3.5% rate increase on the water or for the water division, and no increase on the electric side of things. Again, to the caveat, we do have the electric surcharges that need to be adjusted because of changes in the Red River Valley Co-op and XL Energy rates that they've got. So our rates, our surcharge adjusts because of them. And we've discussed that at previous meetings as well. We also did not receive any customer comments as well from our rate hearings. And from there, I will let Mark go ahead and speak.
Okay, thank you, Travis. Madam Chair. As Travis alluded to, as we went through the budget process, it was a joint effort between all of the managers at MPS. We had a couple of good meetings with Commissioners Paulson and McDougall to just give them an overview of what we're doing, discuss what our long-term plans were. And as Travis indicated, you know, we only have a 3.5% water rate increase. Last year at this time, when we were putting the budget together, we had, I think, 6 for 2020, and we were thinking it might be 6 to 6.5 for 2021. So we've been able to identify some savings to get that rate down. And again, electric, no change. It helps that our suppliers don't have any increases coming our way. And it sounds like they will be relatively stable for the next 3 or 4 years. So that will help in the long term in terms of competitiveness. You know, there's a lot of information in this report, goes over some of the numbers, but the key is, you know, the impact to an average homeowner with about $1.46 on water rate increase with no electric increase. And then the city did have a couple of minor increases that they'll be passing through too. I haven't seen the details yet from the approved meeting last night, but we'll get those incorporated on the monthly utility bills as well. So they will go up a little bit in 2021, but I don't think it's as bad as it could have been in light of what's going on with COVID and the other issues affecting the economy.
Yeah,
At this point,
I agree with
questions?
Mark, thanking him for the help along with the other managers that spent some time looking for cost-saving measures and ways to be a little bit better so we could reduce that water rate. It was very much appreciated.
Comments or questions? Not seeing any. Thank you for that, you know, sort of wrapping this up for us. Appreciate that. Appreciate the work of Commissioners McDougall and Paulson in helping to keep us in the loop. So we need to formally approve this. Can I have a motion, please?
Durand will move approval.
Daily second.
So I have a motion by Durand, seconded by Daley, move to approve the final 2021 strategic plan budget and rates. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Oops, sorry, roll call vote. Thompson, yes. Daley?
Yes.
McDougall?
Yes.
Durand?
Yep.
Paulson?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, great. Then that budget then has been approved. We're not closing the meeting for executive session, so I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Moved.
Second?
Okay, a motion by McDougall, seconded by Paulson to adjourn the meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much for coming. See you, Happy New Year. See you next year.
See you next year.
Thank you.